Hey, Brian. Can you just talk about, you talk about the resilience. You're down by 11 points. You come back with the 20 to 5 run, I think it was.
I wouldn't want to go through it again, but that's exactly what our team needed. We needed to have a lead, lose it, be backed up against the wall, and figure out a way to win. Because we talked about how in some of these games, like Wednesday night, the air kind of went out of the tires in the third quarter, and we didn't feel like we just stayed connected throughout the whole last 24 minutes, which is easy to do. I mean, 99% of the teams in the world will do that in those circumstances, in circumstances like tonight. But what you want to do is you want to tighten it even more, stay together, become even more accountable, even more resilient, and even tougher together. And that was what happened tonight. We had 10 guys play well at different points in time throughout the game, but it was very unpredictable. And but I thought the last group was really playing at a high level. Some of them had a little bit more rest than usual, and I had planned on that anyways, but not quite that much, because I thought our bench played so well in the first half that when we were losing that lead, I wanted to get those guys back in quicker.
Brad, Jeff Green obviously did not have a great night offensively, but he made a couple plays down the stretch. And you talk about his defense on Carmelo. I think Carmelo was 1 of 8 in the fourth quarter.
Well, you talk about kind of an unpredictable thing, because I like Jeff guarding anybody, but we really thought we had a good matchup with Bass on Carmelo, and we started that way. And Carmelo got going like Carmelo can get going. It didn't really matter who was guarding him. But Jeff went to a different level in the last 8 minutes than he was in the first stint at guarding him late in the first half. And that's really encouraging to see, because I really thought he did a great job. But, other guys did too. We got switched on to him a couple times. Vitor got switched on to him twice and did a phenomenal job keeping him in front, challenging the shot. Some of those shots are going to go in anyways, but, it makes it harder if a 6'11" guy's in front of you.
Your starters played well down at the very end, but your bench has been having some production issues lately. Tonight, you saw the way that they, I guess, kept you in it.
Yeah, they kept us. It made it look like in the first half they were going to give us a nice cushion, but they were really good. They weren't as good in the second stint, but they did such a great job. You wanted to stay with them. I thought two of the biggest possessions in the game was they got us down to 11. And Phil made a nice pass to Gerald for a layup, and I'm trying to think how else we scored right there, right before I took those guys back out. And all the starters went in, and all of a sudden we're down 7 with about 8 minutes to go. And it's a little bit more manageable than 11. So those plays right at the end of that stint in the fourth quarter with the second unit were really big.
Is that a lot of just matches? When you go down and they had favorable matches?
Well, they went, Carmelo came in pretty quick in that fourth quarter. When we cut it to 7, we put our starters back in. He was right back in as well. But we had decent matchups, yes, but I thought it was just a matter of them playing really well. And then, hey, Courtney made, one that went off the glass and another one that was really, really difficult. But, he's a capable big shot maker, and it was nice to see him get kick-started like that.
Despite Jared having a huge first half, you stuck with Vitor at the end of the game there, and he really rewarded you, especially defensively. What was the thinking behind that move?
Very little brain power put to it. All vision of, hey, that guy's really in a nice groove. Bass is our best bet on Bargnani if Jeff's going to guard Carmelo. And, we've got a nice rhythm going. Vitor made a huge 3, made a huge catch and finish with a minute to go. But more than anything, I felt like we had rim protection at a pretty good level down in the paint with him in the game, and we were also rebounding. So all gut, no math or science behind that one. That was just one of those lucky things that happened the right way.
Brad, you've talked a lot about the evenness of the overall roster. On nights where, like tonight, where
Jordan kind of struggled with. I mean, can it kind of be a positive in a way because the
Yeah.
guys are interchangeable?
Yeah, really can be a positive. And you know, it's an interesting dynamic for me because you know when somebody's going really well, but at the same time you want those guys to know that, you know, you believe in them to turn it around, but you don't want to let it get out of hand. So it's a interesting dynamic that you're kind of towing all the way through that. But good to have those guys come in off the bench and play well. I thought Gerald was really good tonight. Courtney was obviously good. Philly was good. You know, Vitor obviously in the second stint was very good. And I thought Kelly ran out of gas in the fourth quarter, but was pretty good in the first half.
Brad, two things. Can you touch further on Vitor's there's times he's played 4 minutes, there's times he's played 2 in the first half as he come back in. And you got him playing the entire fourth quarter of an intense game where you guys are trying to rally. And that's a trust thing there. I mean, you got to trust that he's going to do the right things there.
Yeah, you know, it's I really like that. And sometimes I've done that in the past just to see where we are. You know, we had a guy one year that was a freshman that didn't play for a month and came in the Elite Eight and played 12 or 14 minutes, scored a basket, and helped us win to go to the Final Four. Hadn't played in a month. So our talking point then and our talking point now is you have to be ready for your time. You have to put in your time to be ready for your time, and then you have to take advantage of it to the best that you can. And, you know, it actually happened 2 years in a row where a freshman came in that hadn't played that did that. So it was pretty neat to live that. And it's given me kind of more faith as a coach moving forward that, hey, it's okay to ride the hot hand even if it's not somebody that's played a lot.
And how much did Avery change the game defensively? I mean,
At the end, he really did.
In the front, in the backcourt.
He did at the end. I thought he was really good. You know, they missed a couple of shots that they normally make in the fourth quarter, but a lot of those shots that they did miss were contested. We had a good defensive fourth quarter. But you could see when Avery went back in with 8 minutes that he was at a different level than he was before that in that part. I mean, anybody could see it just with their eyes. And so Jeff, Avery, those guys did turn it up a notch defensively.
Final question, Mark?
Brad, obviously they're your starters, but they struggled earlier in the game. What gave you the confidence to lead those guys on the floor in crunch time in the final minutes?
Well, I put him back in because then the second unit started struggling. So, you know, I think you go with the guys that have been there in some cases, and you ride the hot hand in others, but sometimes it's a mix of it. Jeff's made a lot of huge plays for us. You know, obviously Jordan and Avery have made huge plays for us. But I trust those other guys that I took out. So, not to say that it would be the exact same the next time, but, you know, that's the way we felt. And then I think Bass is a solid, you know, guy on both ends of the floor for us, kind of a stabilizer.